Namaste, angels. This is going to be the weekly love reading for the period of today, Sunday, March 4th through next Saturday, March 10th, beginning with an opening message from the Journey of Love Oracle. This week it is card number 11, Eruption of Light. The 11 may have been presented to us today because of the full moon. I'm kind of getting moon here. And the Virgo full moon was 11 degrees, or at 11 degrees, yes. Eruption of light. Your every prayer is a power-packed eruption of light beamed into the divine presence. Some pray with fear or doubt as though the prayer is not doing much at all. That may be from where our starting card comes here. Stay optimistic about your love life. Positive thinking and faith will bring you romance, because prayer is just intention, right? It's just an attempt to manifest something. That's really what it is, and vice versa. Meditation is prayer and prayer is meditation, as far as I'm concerned. So if you don't have any real belief, faith in yourself, the universe, or anything behind it, then no, it's not going to work. I completely agree. So some pray with fear and doubt as though the prayer is not doing much at all. Yet you understand that prayer is powerful, that it is divine action set into motion. Your power of divine prayer emerges from your heart and out through your throat, whether you speak or sing your prayer silently within your own mind or aloud for the world to hear. Let your prayers be vocalized as feelings expressed to the divine in words or song if you choose. You have the power to heal at your fingertips and vocal cords. Through your voice, you can heal. Let your hands be joined in prayer position at your heart and your mouth be open. Let your breath and the breath of your spirit move through your throat, creating sound. As you speak it, so shall it be. This oracle holds a message for you. Your words have more power than you may realize. And you have a special ability to heal with words, to bring light where it is needed, and to uplift through simple kindness spoken. You also have a message to bring. It might be an urge to write or to speak on topics that are close to your heart. You may also simply have the need at a soul level to share from the heart with others when you are engaged in conversation. This oracle says that your voice is part of your power, so do use it. Life begins with love. To complete itself again, symmetry is born. 11, actually, master number 11, is about communicating with the universe. It's a reminder from the universe, as is 1111. A reminder from the universe that our thoughts become our reality and our words become our reality. So it talks about what we speak over our life and the need for it to be of a positive nature. Otherwise, we manifest negativity instead. So it could still have to do, wow, okay, something fell away. She loves. Maybe I should read this one too. Card number 61. Forgiveness is here for you now. Can you partake of it? Forgiveness for your own self, for the times that you messed up, didn't love, forgot to trust, tried to take over, and decided against surrender. Forgiveness is here for you now, for the times when you couldn't forgive another, even if you really tried and really wanted to. She loves. She is here for you now. Open your heart to the angel goddess of forgiveness and let her fill your heart. You are free. This oracle brings you a message from the divine. You are forgiven. You are worthy of forgiveness, and you are capable of your great spirit and generosity in forgiving others. If there's a person that you cannot forgive, you are really just not forgiving yourself. Perhaps you're being vulnerable for not, quote unquote, knowing better, or for not listening to your own intuition. It's time to let that go and to allow the forgiveness that the divine has for you to fill your heart. You are free now. You just need to realize it. The cherry blossom knows when to bloom each year and never questions whether its beauty is enough. There is peace in knowing that you always bloom well, yet man spends a lifetime in wonder. On that note, dice. I'm beginning with Eat Cake, Weekend Away, and Yes. Still Eat Cake, and Sex, and it's 50-50, give and take. These could all go together actually to make one message, depending upon what one is into. I'm gonna go to my, what I call my hashtag creepy deck, beginning with Twin Flame and opening to Beauty Queen, which may be connected to that she loves message and feeling worthy. This card also represents Venus for me as like the Empress, when she's the Empress, and it's about being attractive and confident and, you know, sort of knowing it, feeling that way from the inside out. That's what this card says to me as well. Twin Flame and True Love. Twin Flame. I was just thinking, I probably thought this card up. Our thoughts become a reality. I was just thinking that in the general reading, I had made an announcement. So for those of you who've not seen that, I made an announcement prior that this week I was feeling that some parties of three, particularly involving earth and fire, and maybe even more specifically those that I have been talking about involving Virgo and or Leo, would come to a head and explode, and not necessarily in a bad way. I mean, just check out the general. But I talked about those parties of three, and I was just thinking about it in the moment, like, oh, I didn't say anything, you know, at the beginning of the love reading to anyone. And here it is, my reminder, triangle. And I was otherwise going to open to Mature Man, which could be about, it's like the Emperor. I was just talking about the Empress. This is like the Emperor to me. It's like, it'd be a father figure, an older person. Since this is love, maybe it's involving, it'd still be somebody's father that maybe they're not happy, or they are with somebody's relationship situation. I'm thinking they're not, though. That's what I got most of. It's like that stern kind of authoritative father figure energy. It can also be about our own personal need to like get organized. And now gifts. I'll make this the last one. Gifts at the bottom now. And we just had the dice with Eat Cake. Maybe there's some birthdays that are going to be celebrated between partners or something. Happy birthday to this Pisceans. Any Pisceans having a birthday this week that we'll be celebrating. Some of you, I guess, will get lucky and will actually do that celebrating with your partner based on the cards that I've seen so far and the dice. Eat cake and all that. I'm coming now to Soulmate. Also, I think this has at least one specific message for someone. As I was shuffling the Journey of Love Oracle, I first came to something like over shores, or distant shores. And then the next card was like across water. And then the next one was something that made me think about distance and travel too. And I felt that somebody's perhaps love interest, or somebody that, somebody's love interest, I guess, for lack of a better word, was not only distant, but like maybe there was a deportation situation and you don't know how you're going to resolve that one. And I mean, it'll be worked out if it's a true divine union because it's meant to be worked out. So keep that, even if you're in that situation, which I agree sounds and looks like a difficult one to have had a partner deported. But even if you're in that situation, the idea is that, and there's a need to remain super positive about things and faithful and trusting in yourself and the universe. Long distance. For others of us, this can have, more than one meaning too. It can be about travel, visiting one another, maybe because of a birthday or some other celebration, and to exchange gifts and things like that. It can also be about separation. But on a happier note, for most, it can be about the distance that the relationship will go. That it has, like you as an individual, it too has value and worth. Sort of not only together with you, but separate and apart from you. The union stands on its own, has its own value. I'm going to use these this week, I think, for what the feminine is feeling about herself, the masculine about the feminine, about himself, the union. So for the masculine perspective, I'm using these this week. Overall, what the masculine would have the feminine to do toward the union this week, what he himself is willing to, what the universe would have the two to do, and the outcome. Feminine. Open relationships. We had a couple of weeks in a row where the masculine was in this place, or the union itself was represented by this. And what it means for me is not like the 3D open relationship, because that's what a divine union is already, basically. It's a relationship where, there's clearly a connection and a tie, and it can't be, well, we can attempt to fight it, but it can't really be fought. It can't be broken. And therein lies some sort of relationship that exists, whether, it's ever been spoken to enter any type of commitment or whatever. The commitment exists at the soul level. However, each party tends to live their life and has to live their life and walk their path on their own. So it's open in that sense, that there's a commitment between us, but you still have your life and whomever and whatever that involves, and same with me. When it comes up with this for a divine union, it means the opposite. It means a relationship out in the open instead, rather than that sort of sneaking around and feeling as if you're cheating, and maybe because you are, because again, the commitment exists at the soul level. The masculine with regard to the feminine, fair male. Could be some Capricorns getting ready to make some sort of move this week. For others, this is about fear. And fear, I think, came up for the masculine last week in this position. This is about fear and feeling stuck as it relates to approaching the feminine or the union. In this placement, specifically the feminine, though, as the fear and restraint. It's like the devil card from the tarot is the type of energy I get from this card. About himself, family. So still wanting this, wanting joy and family. And again, I was saying, like, the other card could be somebody's father. This could be part of a party of three as well, with these three people sitting here. And the union itself, also karmic. Interesting from the masculine's perspective this week. And when I say karmic there, the way that it came through is it's like like the opposite of this. It's like naughty, like I'm doing something. I don't dislike this, but I'm doing something that's like sneaky. And maybe I can't tell everyone, which is like, again, the opposite of what it seems the feminine is looking for this week. This is like the sex dice and all that kind of stuff. Like he's into it, but maybe not on the same page as the feminine this week. Made further evident by the fact that both of these are here. Overall, dating, getting together, maybe the full moon energy, bringing people together. That has been evident. What would the masculine have the feminine to do this week? Be confident, be, you know, like know her worth, feel that in her beauty, you know, be confident, have some esteem, and, you know, be like how he sees you, basically, is what I'm getting. Very Venus-like. Now, this is also about being open to new beginnings and maybe post some of the forgiveness that the opening message that jumped out spoke of. And he himself, soulmate, is willing to do. This can be addressing a party of three, with it crossing this, and maybe a karmic soulmate, putting these two cards together, or these two cards together. It can have meaning toward the union too, like willing to try to take a step forward toward this, an acknowledgement of that soulmate connection, or that connection at the soul level. What will the universe have the two to do? This is pretty clear. Explore your passion for one another. Very fiery too. These may have an additional specific connection to the fire sign parties of three. And the outcome. Courting man. Well, I like that. I like being crowned by dating and rooted in courting man. So again, this is from the masculine perspective. It seems like he's in, you know, kind of all over the place. I think he wants, I don't want to say he's not interested in the relationship, but I think this particular week he's a little bit more interested in physicality than maybe anything else. And again, that's not, I'm not saying that to be negative. You know, that's not necessarily a negative thing. This is physicality. It looks pretty good to me. Also, I'm getting now, some of us, at least from the masculine perspective, there's a sentiment of his that, and this may be because of some of the things that he's been involved in and done himself, there's a sentiment of his that some karmic behavior is going on, like there's an extra person, I guess, not only on his side, but on yours too. All right. On that note, I'm going to go to the Angel Tarot, begin with the King of Fire, who's motivational, idealistic, ambitious, and charismatic. Focus, focus, focus. Communicate with vision and be a leader. Take advice from someone creative. The King of Fire is a Leo, perhaps, speaking of those, Sagittarius or Aries, maybe even a Scorpio, also ruled by Mars, or anybody likened to those traits or attributes. Open to the Seven of Fire. Defend your beliefs and decisions. Stand your ground, but choose your battles wisely. Seven of Fire. And life experience with Archangel Chamuel. A significant life event. A powerful revelation that leads to change. It's time to spread your wings. Tower showed up in the general. I had already spoken about it before I laid the cards, that I felt very tower-like energy coming. I'm going to ask that you please do watch the general. It was Yeah, I just can't explain. Just please do watch the general. Life experience, again, is the Tower. So it's about something that comes in very sudden. It is karmic energy, as in of the universe, and it just sort of sweeps you off your feet. Typically good or bad, but this week I've been feeling a lot of good, and that's why I'm directing you to go ahead and watch the general so you can understand what I mean. Page of Water, who's intuitive, sensitive, artistic, and friendly. A new person enters your life. A relationship begins a new phase, and there are also heightened psychic abilities. The Page of Water is a Pisces for me, but can also be a Cancer or a Scorpio or anybody likened to those traits or attributes. Overall energy is the High Priestess, Archangel Haniel. Listen to your intuition. Have patience and consider carefully what you want before acting. The High Priestess is a Gemini for me, or perhaps a water sign. Masculine, balance with Archangel Zadkiel. This is temperance. This is the healing that comes in. There's the need for balance and moderation, cooperation and compromise. Wait for perfect timing. So it's telling you divine timing is at play here. And that could be another meaning for those two karmic cards having come up too. That could be another feeling of the masculines, or a message from his higher self of the need to heal and work on those karmic energies. But yeah, again, this is the Temperance card in the traditional tarot, and it's about restoration for me. Like whatever was, has been incomplete. This makes everything whole again. This restores. Masculine is surrounded by the Seven of Air, plans that need revision, more going on than meets the eye, and poor timing. This is the energy of joy stealing for me. But at the root, unity, or the High Priest, also and better known as the Hierophant, traditional viewpoints or methods, spiritual organizations, seek out mentors and like-minded friends. The Hierophant, as it relates to love, can absolutely be about commitment, maybe even marriage. That could be what, joy someone is trying to steal from the masculine. It can in part be himself. Like this can represent fear too, fear and distrust, lack of esteem, like what he wants you to have, but he may lack it himself, lack of confidence. All that can be Seven of Air. And, by sinking into this, allowing himself to potentially miss an opportunity to, come together with the feminine. Unity, the Unity card, or the Hierophant card in the tarot, represents the sign of Taurus, or perhaps another earth sign. And balance or temperance represents the sign of Sagittarius, or maybe another fire sign. So here is that fire and earth element that I did speak of with regard to the parties of three as well. That could be that a third person could be, the energy that's trying to steal joy as well. Also, the masculine crowned by a 5 and rooted in the 5. This can be the need for change that may involve, some difficulties, some challenges, and it's going to require you to get your confidence up too, man up to this, whatever you need to do. So good thing that this very karmic energy of the universe is coming in to restore you, because you're going to need to be able to, maybe stand up for what it is you're deciding you want here, whatever that means for you. And we did just see the Seven of Wands also, which is a card that means that as well. It's like there's a need for you to defend yourself when you feel you should. And when you feel that you can walk away from something. And, it's about choosing one's battles. So I think that's all for the masculine. For the feminines, the Star with Archangel Jophiel. Happy times make positive, optimistic, long-term plans. You're on the right path. So remaining optimistic, just like the card I pulled out from the Romance Angel. Stay optimistic about your love life. But the Star represents the planet Uranus and the sign of Aquarius for me, and can absolutely be about communication, and most likely of an electronic means or text or, you know, something online, maybe meeting somebody online dating, emails and stuff like that. But it's also just about like your prayers are being answered, your wishes are coming true. Those prayers, those intentions that you made when you spoke the positivity over your life, that's how you manifested it, by speaking it out and then by maintaining a belief that it could actually come true is how you bring it about. That's what manifestation is. So that's what you're being rewarded for, that by the major arcana here in the universe. Feminine surrounded by release or death in a traditional tarot with Archangel Azrael. The end of a phase or a situation. Spiritual transformation. It's time to move on. So this can be the need to move on from that inability to forgive that the opening message spoke of, into a new phase where you're more positive. Instead, you're not holding on to old stagnant energy. As a matter of fact, I think both of those cards, the original opening message, card number 11, and then the card that I ended up reading because it jumped out, which I believe was card number 61 in that deck, both mentioned the need to let something go in order to move on. And one of the things that we can do is let go of like any negative emotions, like, you know, the inability to forgive, the resentment that may be attached to that, the regret that may be attached to that, and that's what's blocking you from releasing it. But you're guided again by the Death card to let go, because the Death card comes in to say that something, you know, is ending, and it's never going to exist the way it did. If it does exist again, it's never going to exist in the same way ever. So what you knew, it has died. And to look forward to the new beginning. 13 equals 4 equals 11, 11. At the root here is another very special 11. It's renewal or judgment. Both of these cards represent the sign of Scorpio for me, by the way, too. Well, release represents it for most practitioners of the tarot. That's what it means in the tarot. I mean, it's the Death card, which represents the sign of Scorpio. But renewal or judgment, I also attach to the planet Pluto, which is about death and rebirth, because, well, if you use the Rider-Waite tarot, the traditional tarot, on the judgment card, there's all these people that are in like purgatory. It's about death and rebirth to me. And, you know, sort of deciding where we go. Review and evaluate. A favorable assessment of the facts. It's time to move in a new direction. So the feminine is like Trump tight here as it refers to major arcana, and very, very beautiful cards too. What judgment means with regard to a relationship is that we've come to like a juncture where we need to decide, where are we going from here? What are we doing? So maybe this is acknowledgement in this position, particularly the feminine subconscious, of the fact that the old thing has died. Okay, that's died. So what do we have now? What are we going to decide to have? And, you know, if anything, are we going to move forward together, basically, in some capacity? Crowning. The 8 of Fire, and it's sitting right here next to the star, which I just explained very often is about communication. This too can be about communication. So it's about things moving very, very quickly, and a lot of things happening. For me, especially, well, this tarot too, these look like arrows, but also in the traditional tarot, it's like all those rods being hurled at somebody. Reminds me of Cupid's arrows. And Cupid is a Sagittarius, right? The archer. And it's also sitting here next to Temperance. So I think that this is telling us that there will be a lot of communication. And I don't think it's just going to be like, I think it's going to be like telepathic and stuff. I mean, it may still be for some, but I think for the most part, this communication is real, you know, email, text, some sort of, you know, social media or something. And I also just thought about something I said in the general. Again, watch the general, because I talked about something possibly coming out on social media or something that is like a trigger in bringing down these parties of 3 collapsing. again, particularly between earth and or fire. And that involved the moon also. I talked about the moon representing the unknown and darkness, but how I just felt that things would be illuminated, and what's done in the dark has, up to this point, you know, like, will be brought to light. And so here's the moon. It also represents the sign of Pisces, similar to the page we've seen, the page of water. Important psychic insights. Events behind the scenes release fears that hold you back. And notice it's crossing here the Seven of Air, where I said the masculine was holding on to fears. But it's also crossing the Death card, where the feminine is holding on to fears, ego, again, negative emotions. So we're both guided to let those go. Maybe to make way for, you know, renewal, reconciliation, and also commitment. I mean, look what's mirroring one another here. The masculine is with the Hierophant in his subconscious. This is what's on his mind. And the feminine is thinking about renewal of a relationship, restoration of a relationship. And speaking of restoration, this mirrors the Temperance card, or the Balance card. And so bringing about that restoration. And here, when it's balance, it can also bring in, for me, air signs, and of course, specifically Libra, you know, the scales, balance. And that, sitting here above the Seven of Air, an air sign certainly may be involved in this situation. And of course, we can't forget that Aquarius or other air sign shows up when the star does. At the heart of the matter, the Five of Water. Things not turning out the way you'd hoped. Not seeing the positive in a situation and crying over spilled milk. The Five of Water is about like an pessimism, an energy of pessimism, not counting your blessings, not being thankful in advance, not putting out into the universe, you know, positive things over your own life. This is just like letting the world happen to you, and so that you can go like, oh, woe is me, nothing ever goes my way, you know, and continue to feed negativity about yourself, you know, out there into the air. That's what this card represents for me. So we want to be mindful of this and careful of this. And it's funny, a similar energy ended up at the heart of the matter in the general as well. And we got these 3 5s here. Now together they equal 6 equals love. So you can like put that spin on it. That's what we have to learn to do, to look at everything from its most positive position and perspective, and hold on to that kind of energy, and never ever like the doubtful and the pessimistic, if we can at all avoid it. So I'm going to clarify these a little bit further with the Doreen Virtue Romance Angels. Again, beginning with that, stay optimistic about your love life. Positive thinking and faith will bring you romance, well, especially while I'm on this note. Opening 2, give your relationship a chance. Work on your partnership, but also very soon, clearly decide what you want so that it comes to you now. Very soon. And trust. This situation is calling for you to have faith. Trust. Finances and career. Financial issues are a factor in your love life right now. Finances and career. I'm going to cut. So that can be, again, earth signs, and maybe specifically Virgo, but it can also mean like being concerned with the material and wanting to have a certain amount, you know, like some of us make these plans, like I'll have a baby, you know, when I have a savings account that's full of cash or whatever, you know, like they're reasonable goals in the sense that it is reasonable for a person to, you know, want to do the best for themselves and their family. But they are unreasonable goals in the sense that we feel like we can plan out life as if there aren't greater factors, at hand, such as the divine timing about which we were warned. Yep, makes a lot of sense. The overall energy is let go of control issues. So I got to remind you, we had those from the divine masculine perspective. We had those two cards reflecting karmic energy surrounding us and perhaps control issues, and the energy of restriction, particularly with that fair male. I said Capricorn, the way that Capricorn or the devil card in the tarot feels. It's about fear. It's about restriction, or self-imposed restriction, feeling like we are unable to move forward on something. So instead we try to control things. And that's the same thing as, from where this kind of thing comes. So we forget that we have these two cups here because we're trying to force everything. And while we're doing that, oops, look, now I dropped these three. You don't need those three anyway, right? And that also connects to this 7 of air and the joy stealing too. A top balance is make the effort. Great love is worth taking the steps you're guided to take. So again, you're being restored, to your best self so that you can put your best foot forward and make the effort. Atop the 7 of air, rather than, fear and worry and taking away your own joy by limiting your own confidence, instead, keep an open mind. Your soulmate may differ from your usual type and expectations. Atop unity, which can often be about not just commitment and marriage and stuff, but with whom we surround ourselves in general. The romance angels say, love yourself first. Your self-respect makes you more romantically attractive. Atop the star, trust. This situation is calling for you to have faith. That's what prayers do. They require you to have faith in order for you to manifest them. Atop release or death, worth waiting for. Divine timing is at work in your love life, which I just said. So we allow this situation, this phase or whatever it is, to end and for the new one to start. It's all in divine timing. But we're not going to be disappointed, because what follows, again, renewal, topped by religious factors. Your love life is influenced by your religious upbringing and spiritual path. With these two together, I'd say it is about divine union. Atop the 8 of fire, getting to know each other, because this is about communication. We're actually going to talk. Maybe we meet online, for the first time, and we didn't know each other at all before. It's going to be that for some people. As you reveal your innermost selves to each other, your bond deepens. Spending time with somebody, really, truly getting to know them. Here atop the moon, what the unknown is about the abundance that's about to come into you as it relates to finances and career. Financial issues are a factor right now in your love life, but it's, I would say, a positive one, not only because of what I've felt and seen in general and in the general, but also because, again, the moon is about letting go of the fear and restriction and the negativity that we manifest into our own lives, and instead, having some faith and belief that we can just we can still jump out there and do what we got to do, even though we don't know everything. And it crosses here, this keep an open mind and the reminder about the joy stealing and loving ourselves first. This is about positivity. So it's a positive card as it relates to the finances too. And here at the heart of the matter, atop the 5 of water, engagement. Your love life is ascending to a higher level of commitment. So again, you have the 2 cups, but as long as you're worried about these, then you're not sending out the positive energy that will help this to occur. So be mindful of this so that, yeah, your relationship can ascend like everyone else's who is making positive intentions in their own regard. further advice from the hashtag creepy deck. The guidance is to try to start with friendship, and that can be part of loving yourself first, as well as what the energy that the Hierophant brings. Again, this is about with whom we surround ourselves and our social circles and all of that. And sort of releasing people that don't align and welcoming people that do, or maybe ourselves venturing out, making the effort, venturing out and joining a circle, which can be just one other person, or it can be a circle of one. It can just be you, getting to know you first, loving yourself first. But adding people on that resonate with your current place in life. They should be of your vibration or higher, so that you can learn something from them. They can learn something from you, despite other differences, maybe cultural differences, age differences, religious differences. That stuff doesn't matter. We can have a meeting of the minds, as it relates to vibration and energy. I like the way your energy feels. You like the way my energy feels. I can learn things from you, even if you are older than me, younger than me, a different race from mine, a different religion from mine, or maybe especially if you're different. You can teach me something about those things that I don't know. So we're beginning with the basis of friendship here, and then, having it develop into something more. Feminine, freedom. Freedom from this need to know everything, need to control everything, loosening the reins on that to allow for our positivity, our prayers to be answered, our flow to come in. Because as long as we try to control it, then these things take additional time. We allow for the universe's time. We may be happily surprised. I think we will this week. For the masculine, the Three of Air, great sadness. Take time to heal. There's a need to forgive yourself and others. So this can be also involving, again, the parties of three and them coming to an end, a breakup or something. You may feel mournful about that, and maybe you feel both. Maybe you feel happy, like I'm glad that's over, but at the same time, having spent some, time with someone and had a relationship with someone, it's still can be difficult to release. You may still be mourning that. That's okay too. This can also be about the need, again, for forgiveness between the two, and the fact that there's been hurt. It can be an acknowledgement of that hurt. I'm sorry I hurt you. I'm sorry you hurt me. I'm sorry we hurt each other. Instead, let's maybe learn to love each other in a better way, beginning with learning to love ourselves in a better way. Feminine, the Four of Water, missing an opportunity, discontentment, or boredom. Open your eyes to the possibilities. So similar to the Five of Water, this is about being more concerned with what's going on around you than what's going on within you. And the fact that your cup runneth over as it is. So focus on that. You need to take your focus away from this three. And this can be actual focus on a party of three in both cases. The Four of Water and the Five of Water. And the need to, refocus our attentions and intentions and attentions. And masculine, give your relationship a chance. Work on your partnerships. You're being guided more than once here to put effort into what you want to bring about for yourself. Don't just sit around hoping that you'll be forgiven if you're not apologizing or seeking forgiveness. Okay? You got to actually put some work into it and try to restore the friendship. And lastly, for us, feminine, is that energy of Sagittarius yet again. You deserve love. You are lovable. Cupid shooting his arrow at you this week, just as I described here. So many of us coming together and getting to know each other better as we improve upon our relationships and they continue to ascend. Hope that you guys enjoyed the love reading and find it helpful. I'll be back with more sometime. Namaste, angels.
My feet won't touch the ground.